Day 5 of Baja of Valle de Guadalupe. We are checking out of Adobe Guadalupe. Just had breakfast with Mrs. Miller, and we are checking out of here. We're on the road. Tony, our driver, is here waiting for us, and we are off to some new wineries today. Wineries that I don't know about, so that's going to be exciting. Love meeting new friends, drinking new wine, and new experiences. So we're headed off to, I don't even know the names of the wineries, so you have to stay tuned. It was set up by our wine importer, and all right, we just got to Casa de Piedra. We pulled in. Here's the Casa de Piedra building. This is the old building. They have a new construction on top of the building. When we first got here, we stepped in here. The back courtyard of this building is beautiful. It's like walking into an Italian villa. But we're going to go up the mountain to the new tasting room, the new construction.
It's a family winery. So the owners are the Familia da Costa. We are Mexican. And today it's going to be with you during the tasting, Daniella da Costa. She is the daughter.
Oh. Excellent. Excellent. Wow, it's beautiful up here. It's beautiful. Yeah.
We have a small vineyard here of Chadonnay. Yeah. And this is the grape we use for the only white wine we have here at Casa de Piedra, which is Piedra de Sol, that you're going to taste in a minute. Okay? The rest of the vineyards are on Valle de Guadalupe. We have another winery. We are proud of you. Casa de Piedra is very classic winery, traditional, and then Aborigen is right here on the other side of the parking lot. That's the experimental winery. So everything that you can do with wine, it goes to Aborigen. Yes. And then Paralelo, it's like the brother of Casa de Piedra. It has a very traditional method of making wines, and that's where we have the rest of the vineyards. Okay?
Great. And you have a restaurant here too?
Yes, Conchas de Piedra, but it's an open restaurant, so for today, because of the rain, it won't be used.
Hi, I'm Daniella from Casa de Piedra. Please join Marcus and Jamie here to have some sparkling wine and oysters.
My speech. We're gonna try the different projects that we have here in our winery. I don't like to talk a lot of specifically the wines. I think that the wines should speak by themselves, but I can talk about the projects or the philosophy that we have behind them, and why do we do the wines the way we do it, no? First of all, I would like to talk about the history of our family and how we arrived here and how it all started, because it's not that obvious. My dad, Hugo, he's from León and he lived in Mexico City. He studied agronomy in Querétaro, and then he went to study enology, winemaking in France and then in Italy. He came back. He couldn't find a job because in Mexico we drank tequila and beer, and the wine wasn't as strong as it is today. And it was hard and complicated to find a way. No, he went to California. He worked there for a while. He arrived here. He went to Coahuila. There, he met my mother. Then the love began. I was born and everything. And we arrived here to Ensenada in 1988. He arrived to work in Santo Tomas in Ensenada. It's a really old winery. It's one of the first ones here, actually.
We're going tomorrow.
Ah, good.
We're going tomorrow into Palafox.
Ah, bien. I think Santo Tomas is a really interesting project because it's one of the first one here, and it has a lot of history because it's not the new wave of wineries here. No, it has like more a structure or sea, tradition. Exactly, the wines that they were in the table for years and years and years. No, so he arrived there. He was the winemaker there for a while. He became the director of the winery of the whole project. And my mom and my dad bought this project to have a house here and be really romantic style, just only like our house. It wasn't supposed to be the winery at all, no? The winery, it's the building that you found just arriving, the big one, made of stone. So that was supposed to be our house. My brothers and I came here and just were deciding which room was ours and which one, la 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 la. And one day my mom was like, Hugo, this house is too big. I don't like big houses. We are more like human and we just like to be like, close together. And it's been a while since you want to start your own project, so here's the building. Please try it. This is a Blanc de Blancs. I'm going to talk about the wine later. This is a Blanc de Blancs. Traditional method.
Bottle, okay, excellent.
Yes.
This is our first traditional method we've had down here.
So this is like champagne. So it's made like
Champenoise.
So there's, there's
in the bottle.
Yep.
exactly
Yes.
turned.
And then turn the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Is there a vintage? When was it disgorged?
It has 18 months with the yeast in there, and it has been 2 years since we
Disgorged.
disgorged. Exactly. It's
And
a mix of Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, and Chenin Blanc.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Shannon Blanc.
So we started the project. When we started, it was 1997. There were only 7 wineries here in the valley. Now there are like 130, 150. It
We've
depends.
heard 200.
I've heard a lot of
O sea, exactly. It's like we don't know, But if you can see in 20 years the development and the evolution, it's been like crazy, no? And at the beginning, when we started Casa de Piedra, we had 2 ideas in our heads that wasn't so obviously to have. No, the first one is that the family could live owning a winemaker, or a winery. I remember when I was a little girl and I was like, everyone at school asked like, what do your parents do for a living? And they were like, mine, it's a doctor, mine is an architect, la la la, and I'm a winemaker. No, my dad is a winemaker. And in English it's really obvious, no, because the word explains itself, but in Spanish it's enología, that it could be anything if you don't know what you're talking about. And I remember that I had to explain what my parents do for a living, and I was like, that's the weird kid that their parents do alcohol for a living, no? It's kind of strange. And nowadays, everyone has or a neighbor or a cousin or a friend that it's involved in the wine business, no? So the changes around the community here, it's been like crazy in the past 20 years. That was the first thing, so that the family could live and live not super well, but well, that we can attend good schools and we could have some kind of liberty. And the second one is that we wanted to produce wines that tasted like Mexico. And that it can be like a slogan from the airport. It's more like a lot of the wines that were produced here were responding to a market that used to drink wines from another country. No? So people wanted wines with a lot of barrel, or people wanted tempranillos, or people wanted that because that's the wines that were produced in Spain, or were produced in France, or were produced in Argentina. So a lot of the wines that were produced here were trying to made or not copy, because I don't know, so not recreate or to attend, because that's the people that's the type of ones that people were consuming, no? So the idea was to sigo. I can stop. I can continue.
Meeting, I guess. You'll edit it, so don't worry.
when our staff member went to go let in the order, he put the key in the keyhole and the key broke in the hole.
Oh, yeah.
So now we have to figure that out because we have to open.
That's fun. Break a window.
He's in.
The back door?
Yes, it's open, the door, but we have to figure out locking it and all that stuff now.
Yeah, that won't be too bad.
Sorry.
No. So the idea was that, no? So we had to start producing the wines that the land could produce, and we had to start paying attention to the characteristics that the region has to give us, not only produce wines that people are going to like, no? Because there's a lot of, in wine business, so you can see that in every single area that produces wine, no? You can produce wines that are, you know that people are going to like because they're like standardized or globally, no? It's the flavor, I don't know how do you say that in English.
Sure.
And then you have the other part that it's like the land, the region, the grape itself has their own flavors or characteristics that produces in that certain area, and you can involve with them, no?
What is that grape here?
The reality is that if you think about that we've been producing in the new era or the new etapa, I don't know how they say etapa, it's been 20 years. I don't know if we have that information yet, no? So if you talk about 20 years with a geology or some, it will say you that you're crazy, no? You cannot talk about a region or that if you're talking more than 300 years.
Yeah.
So we're still trying to see what is going on. I think that because we don't have any water, so there's grapes that are easier to find and easier to have, but I think that we've seen. I think that Garnacha is a really good grape that it's giving really good wines here. The Chenin Blanc, the Mission, that it's the one that arrived with the Spanish. We're seeing. Let's see. But the thing is that let's produce the wines with the grapes that we need. No, for example, we have 3 different types of sparkling wine. The 3 of them are made with the traditional method. That the second fermentation is made into the bottle. This one, it's the Blanc de Blancs. That it's more traditional. It's a mix of white grapes, but we have a Zinfandel and we have a Barbera. Normally, those grapes you wouldn't find in sparkling wines because in other places they don't have the acidity that you need. But here, those grapes are the ones that are giving us the acidity to produce these dry sparkling wines that we want to produce. So.
I thought it was very good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. How many people are making traditional method in the valley? This is the first one we've seen.
I think that it's increasing. You have Cruz, Benacaba.
Where?
Cruz, it's another producer that should definitely. It's a really small one, and it's from the little town, and it's amazing. His wines are super, super nice. I think like 5 or 6 people now are having traditional sparkling. I think that it should be more, no? It would be super great to have a bar only to sparkling Mexican wines, and it should be interesting. So yes, what we do is that the second fermentation is inside the bottle. The thing that you have there in your back is where all the bottles are. Later I can turn the lights on so you can see it. And all of our sparkling wines has 18 to 24 months with the yeast.
In the bottle.
In the bottle, yes.
It's such an interesting thing to think. I have to wait 2
So long,
years.
right?
I'm gonna take care of this baby.
And
Alright.
in some countries, there's regulations that you have to leave it in the bottle for certain long. Not champagne, but other wines. It's crazy. Like Spain, right? Like Crianza, right? Certain Barolo, yeah.
So were you here in 87? Here on this property?
And in 97, yes. We bought the property in It was 95, I think.
95, yeah.
Yes. Esta cosa me encanta, güey. I hate technology, seriously. It's like, you know, I'm the girl that who's always running, gets dirt. It's like, it's better that way.
Just pour, right?
Yes.
What's your role here at the winery?
I'm in public relationships.
Yeah.
Yes. Normally, another person gives the tasting, but today it was my day.
Perfect. We got lucky.
How do you get this?
This is 100% Chardonnay. I think that you're gonna find it super different from the Chardonnays that you have in California. We only produce like 300 bottles of this wine. Actually, we don't sell it anymore from the outside. We only here in the tasting room. It's the small vineyard that we have here. Actually, we had more vineyard, but we have to, ¿cómo se dice? Arrancar? Take him out, yes, because they were fighting a lot. The plants were fighting each other a lot because of the no water. And the Chardonnay, it's a grape that it's really it likes to be spoiled, no? So, I think it's a really nice with good acidity, and the good thing is that you're gonna find the minerality that you have in the area really present. No?
Before you shut the back door, and make sure that you can unlock the front door with the key, and then we'll have to worry about it. I'm not really sure how. I just texted Jeff to see if Jeff was around to help, but it's his birthday, he's not around. So I have to think of somebody else that would help. Obviously, it would have been that grandpa, but that's not possible. So let me.
So in Casa de Piedra, we only have the sparkling wines, this white wine, and the three reds that we are going to taste now. But we started to grow, and we decided that we wanted to keep the production small in Casa de Piedra, but we could have more projects with different personalities, and that will be even more interesting for us to just keep doing the same wine and the same wine and the same wine. So we started in 1997 with this project. Then in 2000 we started another project that it's called Aborigin. That the idea of that project was to have like this big laboratory where you could keep creating and keep searching the different possibilities of the area. No? This is really interesting because here in Casa de Piedra we know that each year we're going to do the Chardonnay, and each year we're going to do Vino de Piedra. We know what we're doing, no? And it's a constant that can give us the possibility to search and have more information of the zone, no? But in Aborigin, each year we can decide what we want to do, no? If it was a weird year, climatology speaking, or if we want to know how to produce new types of wines, and it's always changing. At the beginning it was my dad's project, but now my brother is the one that is in charge of that. Is the part of the
For the unique,
exactly.
yeah, for the unique kind of experimental,
See,
the lab.
exactly. For example, here we have 6, or I think there are 9 labels, different labels. In Aborigin we have like 75 labels, no? So we can produce one label that it's only 3 boxes or 1 barrel. We can produce a lot of wine, and it's always changing. We have natural wines, we have and it's really nice because it's all about the wine, no? And it's all about the grape that it's producing the wine, and it's all about the area that it's producing the specific grape. So that's the way that we can continue studying the region and the possibilities around them. So it's really interesting.
This is 100% Chardonnay.
100% Chardonnay.
How old are the vines?
The vines should be, porque empezaron from 1995, exactly, we planted, it's 25 years.
Okay. Malolactic?
Sí,
Okay.
sí. Not
What does
any.
that mean, Marcus?
We don't have any wood on.
No.
No oak.
So stainless, right?
Stainless.
Is that what you were asking? Metal lactic?
No, malolactic is. I don't want to explain it wrong. Can you explain malolactic?
Uf, my English. Okay. La maloláctica.
It gives a unique flavor to wines, and once you know it, you'll be like, oh yeah.
It's it changes the chemistry of the acidity of the certain acids that you have in the wine. So it becomes a lactic acid.
Are you adding a lactic acid?
No.
No,
It's
no.
just it changes the chemistry. Always the yeast and everything. So it's
Oh,
pure
in the barrel.
chemistry.
Yeah,
Exactly in the
okay.
barrel. So with temperature and everything
Yeah.
that you have, you're going to control some
The
things or not.
fermentation.
Exactly.
That's a creaminess.
Exactly.
For the
It's
wine.
almost like the yogurt part. It's for me. I always, I don't know why it gives me the strawberry yogurt that you can. No, it doesn't have any strawberry flavor at all. But you have this creaminess, and it's like the lactic part.
Lactic acid, right?
Exactly.
This is delicious.
Yeah.
This is really good.
Yeah.
See, I really like that one. I don't know if it's
So,
good if I say it, but
That
yeah, I really like
creaminess
that.
that I feel on my palate, that's kind of that.
Yes.
Exactly. It's a texture, no?
Yeah.
It's a texture. And I think it's really interesting because the wines that you're going to drink here are more, I'm talking about Baja, they have these really strong textures, no? Because the minerality, the malolactic, and also, for me, you have like, how do you say seda? You know this fabric that it's really soft? Silky. Yes, exactly. That you find it in your tongue, no? When you're drinking
Yeah.
it. It's something more like this. You have the acidity, yes, but you have this
But
texture
it just
that
flows. It just kind of goes. Yeah. Wow, that's really cool. Wow, you really brought the rain.
You are welcome.
Thank you, Seattle.
Yes, we brought the rain with us.
eso
The
es.
weather follows us.
Everybody's so
Right,
happy.
everywhere we go.
Seriously, you have
Brought
to
the rain.
stay. You have to stay for a week
We're
to
gonna
2
get a
weeks.
nice house built down here. Bring down the weatherman.
It's super beautiful. You cannot imagine what that
No,
feels.
everybody's like,
Everybody's so happy.
It's been a few horrible years where every drop of rain is like, okay, yes.
isn't that's amazing? Because we don't.
In Seattle, you're
We
like,
don't think about that. We're like,
you're like,
please
please
stop
stop
raining.
raining.
Please stop raining. One time it rained 90 days in a row, and then I moved. I was like, I'm done. Too much.
See, every time I go to Mexico City, because I have to be traveling a lot, that also in Mexico City also rains a
They
lot.
get a lot of rain?
Yes, but like every day from 4 to 6 or 5, also it's like, the sky is just,
Interesting.
and everyone is like, okay, yes, and I'm like, please, can come a little bit. Pero bueno. So this is our Chardonnay. This is well, actually, we made 2,000 bottles this year, and this is the 472, the one that you're trying.
It's the first place I've been on vacation where I'm actually happy it's raining.
yeah, right.
It's nice.
You know?
That's why we go wine tasting.
So we
Usually
guys
the rain
collect
on
the
your
water?
vacation, you're mad.
Yes.
off the roofs, huh?
Ajá, y tenemos also the pozos, I don't know, the
Oh
ones.
yeah, around the plants. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sí.
D-E-I-E-D-R-A.
So,
Distilleria.
we have two wines that are called contrasts. The idea of these wines is to produce binational wines. So part of the grapes that we use are from another country and the other ones are from here. This idea is
Growing here now.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
It started like an experiment when my dad was working in Santo Tomas. There was a wine that it's called it was called Dueto. I don't know if you ever heard of it. And it started as a collaboration with Santo Tomas and Wente Vineyards. And the idea is to have these really strong vineyards that could really represent the flavors of the land, of the country, of the area. And so we could see what happened when they mixed. No? So why, if we mix the grapes with the neighbor, why couldn't we go further and further and further so we can produce another type of flavors, no? When we started in Casa de Piedra, Wente called my dad and he was like, Hugo, we need to start, continue doing this, but now with your winery. No? So we have Contraste Continental, continental contrast, and we have Contraste Intercontinental, that it's a project that we do with our winery in France. So in this case, you're gonna have Californian Merlot, and you have Tempranillo and Cabernet that come from Mexico.
Oh, so this Cabernet, the grape comes out of California or no?
The Merlot.
Yeah.
The Merlot.
So you bring the grape down?
No, they produce the wine there,
Okay.
and when we have
then
the
blend it.
exactly.
Okay, I'm slow. Yeah. It's like, how
No,
did
no,
this
that
happen?
could
Yeah.
it could
So
be
you
a
have-
possibility. It will be more expensive, but it could be a
Yeah,
possibility.
yeah.
So you have a winery in France as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So it started to grow. So we had Casa de Piedra, the small project. Then we decided to have this big laboratory that it's called Aborigen. Then we wanted to do a parallel project from Casa de Piedra that could produce more wines, more quantity, more volume, sorry. So we started a winery that is called Paralelo. Also, we had a project that it was called La Escuelita, Little School. So, because we were only 7 wineries and we were trying to, hey, let's drink Mexican wine, and we were only 7 crazy people, we needed more people to join the boat. And my dad started a school where it went with all the grape producers that depended to sell the grape to the big wineries like Cheto, Camus, Montechanic, so they could learn how to produce their own wine. So he started, yes, it was a really nice project because you could rent all the
Production,
la maquinaria, the machines, yes, thank you, that we needed, that you needed to produce, so you hadn't had to invest.
That's what Amy does in Oregon. So it's a cooperative, and they all go there to crush, and then to put their wine in barrels. And so a lot of winemakers rent the space. And
See, and there's been a lot of winemakers that now have their own. For example, Benacava, Phil from Benacava is from La Escuelita. Pau Pilloan from Vinos Pilloan is from La Escuelita. At some point, like 5 years ago, 60% of the people that were producing wine here in the valley had worked in La Escuelita at some point. No? And it was a really nice project. And when that happened, we started the project in France. That it's kind of interesting story that I will tell you as soon as we tried this one.
Okay, so the grape in here is Cabernet?
Yes. We have Merlot, Cabernet, and Tempranillo. Californian Merlot, and we have Mexican Tempranillo and Cabernet.
so good.
I'm gonna, I really enjoy to try both at the same time, even if there are different grapes. The idea to really present, I think that you can identify the Mexican part of both because you have this really strong flavor, and then you have the French part that it's really fruity, and the other part from California. No?
It's delicious. So on a good year, when it's raining, how often will it rain down here on a good year?
Maybe
20
10 days.
10 days.
Oh.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow.
This is one.
This is one, exactly.
This is only one,
No, I
right,
think
this
it's
year.
so interesting, right? Like your whole, everything.
Your
depends
life
upon
depends
10
upon-
days
10 days.
of water.
So in the French one, we have Cabernet Sauvignon, Mexican Cabernet, and we have French Grenache and French Syrah.
So that's this next one here.
Exactly. I really like to just,
Compare them.
yes,
So did the juice come from France now?
yes.
Wow.
We put them in like super big Ziplocs.
Really?
That they have like a thing that you can connect a
yeah.
manguera, I don't know.
Yeah,
And we put them on a boat and they cross the Atlantic by boat.
Wow.
It's really romantic, actually. It's
No,
like,
it is.
suddenly you have like this super big
Who's doing
Ziplocs.
this? Anybody else?
The funny part of that story is that my dad was in France with some friends, and they were in this south region, the Catalan region of France.
Yeah.
No? It's Perpignan. It's like 2 hours from Barcelona. And they were driving and seeing this amazing wine area, and they discovered that a lot of vineyards were going to be torn apart because they didn't have people to work on them. And my dad was like,
Don't tear them apart.
how? Why are you going to do this? So it was weird because he came back and had a meeting with a lot of his winemaker friends, and they were like, we need to save those vineyards.
Even more romantic.
Exactly. And well, we have a winery that it's only from Casa de Piedra, but there's another part that you have like 6 or 7 wineries here that they have a small part of vineyard over
In
there.
France.
Exactly. So there's a lot of people that are doing France, Mexico, because they have those
Resources.
exactly. What it's
And
interesting.
Mexican people went over to work or no?
See, it was super weird.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
imagine a bunch of Mexicans suddenly arrive in France,
Yeah.
and they're like, we're going to do wine, and they're like,
In France.
in Mexico, they don't produce wine. Like, seriously, they were trying, it was like we were, I don't say, we were money laundering or something like that. It was like, no, that cannot be real, no? So, and now you have a small town in France that eat tacos once a year when we're
Oh my gosh, I love
eating
it.
it. Now it's been hard. It's been really difficult because this in social interaction, cultural interaction sometimes is not that easy, no? French people also are like, I have a lot of French friends and I find them interesting, but they're hard sometimes to connect, no? And you can imagine Mexican people telling them how to produce their wine. It's not that interesting for them.
They don't like it so much.
Exactly, especially with wine, no? With wine and cheese and everything that they found that it's really like from them. It's been.
That's amazing.
But it's been fun, and the reality is that all of our projects are like that, no? O sea,
Your father Hugo's still alive?
sí. Sí.
Yeah.
He's still alive now.
It's an amazing
He doesn't like to talk in
adventure.
public. Sí.
He doesn't like to talk in public.
No, yesterday we were arguing about that. We were like, that? Seriously? O sea, you have to keep, because he's a really interesting guy. He's a super intelligent, he's crazy, he loves his work, and he's always like, the wine is the important part, the wine is the important part. Not if we sell it, not if we have a good wine tasting, not if we have, no, the wine. And if we produce good wines, everything is going to,
taken care of.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the reality is that the philosophy has worked so far. So
That's amazing.
we are. What do you think about this one?
Fantastic.
This looks delicious.
Yeah.
I really love in the French and Mexican part that you can have this super elegant fruit part from the old vineyards from France. No, so it's the characteristic is there.
More elegant. This is more tannic. And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That it's also no
This
good
one
in.
has like a little more chew to it, you know.
The
for
first
me.
one or the
Yeah,
second one?
The first one.
The
did
first
to
one?
me.
Oh, I thought the
I
second
thought the
one
second
did.
one does, yeah. Has a little more chew.
Mm.
The first one's a little
The
more
second one
elegant to
is
me. A little more,
I'm the rookie, so This one,
You're not wrong. It's your taste buds.
yeah. Wow.
See, that's
That's the best part about wine, right? There's so many different wines
and you can start with a simple thing as I like it or not, no?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's it.
it.
O sea, you don't
Do it
have
one
to.
you don't even have to you don't even have to explain it, right? And you don't
Exactly.
need to know what you're tasting.
Exactly.
You just have to enjoy it because it's for you.
Yeah, I
That's
think, I mean, that's how I am. I'm simple like that, but the wine culture, like it's so interesting to learn everything about it. And then when you hear other people tasting it, you're like,
I want to taste
I
it.
want to know.
I want to
right?
know, yeah.
See, but I think that that's the amazing part of wine. No? You can start as simple as it is, but if you want to dig, the information is
Yeah, keep going.
endless. You can have a lot of information of one certain grape, some type of making wines, philosophies, blah, 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 blah. O sea, if you like, you can go really, really far away. And you can decide how do you want to enjoy it. No, for me, sometimes having a lot of information,
It's too much.
It's
for me,
overwhelming.
exactly, because I'm used to living the wine like in a really natural way, no? There's wine on the table, you taste it, you like it, no? Sometimes you want more, sometimes you drink more than you have to, sometimes no. So it's like that, no? It's part of the decision, and I think that one of the things that it has been difficult for the wine industries to tell you how do you have to drink the wine all the time, no? It's like, why should we? O sea, I think it's something more.
I used to be in the jewelry business, and I would just sell the romance of it's beautiful, and your wife or husband or whoever is going to enjoy it. And then I worked with someone who would go deep about the minerality and he would never sell anything. Right? It's like it's somewhat the same with wine. You know, that can overwhelm people, or just you enjoy it.
Right.
Exactly.
Is the glass good? Do you like it?
But you guys have such a unique story that I mean that's so unique. Like it's fun to drink because you're like part of this wine came from France, part of it's over here. Mexican people in France just makes me happy. Tacos only one day, huh? They have a big party.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe now it's 2 days or 3. Now that I know it's only one now. Now it's the reality is that it's been an amazing journey. It's been an amazing journey because it's been everything about learning. When the time that you accept that you have to learn a lot, then you suddenly are always analyzing and searching, and no, if we present ourselves like, hey, we know how Mexican wine should taste, this is the way that you should drink it, it's okay, but you're missing out the point that it's the questions, no? The questions are the important part of life, no? When you start finding some answers,
Yeah,
you suddenly get surprised.
that's really good.
Déjenme. Voy a quitar esto.
And these are being imported, Marcus?
They are, but not in New York yet.
Probably
Alma,
Washington, no.
¿me ayudas tantito, porfa? Sí, para dejar nada más para la de Casa de Piedra, ¿no? Porfa.
They wanted to tell me they were coming December 13th to do the measurements, and I said, I don't believe you're coming. So, but she's saying,
Yeah,
did you
with,
only want the fact kitchen? So, I don't really know.
doing this like
It's
steak,
the
you know, and these that make it. It's got a nice wine list too. Yeah. I think,
Where?
interestingly enough, at the Blue Rock, because we're gonna do this steak program.
Yeah. Do Mexican
Yeah,
steakhouse.
yeah, we could.
Good. She not there? They just can't get it right. People just cannot get
Recuérdame
things
cómo se
right.
llama el distribuidor, ¿no? Siempre se me olvida el nombre de ese güey. ¿Cómo? Tom, ¿qué? Tenía la B aquí, yo la B. Sí, porfa.
I'm gonna finish.
gonna end with the beginning. Vino de Piedra, it's the first wine that we produced, the first label that we as a family produced, this first wine that has been so amazing with us and has given us the possibility to keep growing and finding and everything, no? It's the first year that we produced it, it was in 1997. It's always been 50% Cabernet, 50% Tempranillo. It can change 49, 51 of the year, depending of the vineyard. It's always the same vineyard. We have it in the other part of the valley. The valley is something like this, and we are here. It would be completely in the center of it. No, if you know where Fauna is, or not the vineyards in front of them, it's ours. So it's 13 months in French barrel.
You said Tempranillo.
And Cabernet.
Cabernet.
This is 2018 we are trying.
Thank you. What's the name of this?
Vino de Piedra. Vino de Piedra, it's the winery, it's called Casa de Piedra, that it's a house made of stone, because this is a house made of stone. It's really interesting because all the names, it's been like, okay, we want a parallel project, so the winery, it's called Parallel. We want a small escuelita, so the name is the small escuelita, no? So it's like, it's always named by itself. And the reality is that when we were building it, there wasn't almost anything around, so it became like
When you built this?
when we built, yes, the
'Cause now there's everything, that's right. Wow.
so it was like when you see a house made of stone, continue 1 kilometer. So it already had a name, no? So the wines are named after games with the word stone, no? It's Vino de Piedra, it's wine of stone. Piedra de Sol is a stone of the sun, that it's in Spanish, it's the name of a really famous poem of Octavio Paz. Espuma de Piedra is foam of stone, so everything, it goes like.
Did you taste this, Marcus?
Yes.
So would they say this is like fruit forward or no?
Concentrated.
Yeah.
Like you smell the nose.
Yeah.
Like there's some great concentration on there, right? That's just like, not cherry, but like concentrate cherry, right? It's, you get some
Compota.
good depth on that.
Oh, yeah.
Cherries from the bottom of the tree.
Black cherry.
He was making fun of me earlier.
No.
Nine harvest cherries. Nine harvest cherries.
So this is a completely different wine, no? So this is 100% Mexican. This is really concentrated grapes. What we do is that we start making the wine in the vineyard. So you cut a lot of the possible grapes or fruit. So the fruits that end in the plant are really concentrated, no? All the food goes to those grapes, so we have really strong concentrated grapes. We have a lot of sun also, and they're in kind of a hill, so the water goes a lot, and so it's plants that are kind of stressed in a good way, no? So you have really strong ones. The thing that we want to, this wine, it's loved by some and hated by others, but because what we want to make with this label specifically is to put there the minerality or the saltiness, if we that we have in the area. For us, it's like if you have it in your skin, you should show it up, and then you have to know that it's a characteristic that makes you unique, so you have to talk about it, no? What it's really interesting is that this minerality that becomes really strong when the wine is just released, with the time, it gets super elegant, and it goes more of the fruit, and it gives you really strong, long flavors in the wines. The sad part is that here in Valle now, because we are all about producing and having a lot of people all the time, I think that there's a lot, really small amount of wineries that are producing long-term wines. Exactly. It's everything about selling now, no? I think it's a shame because we had a vertical. We had a wine tasting from 1997 of this label from 1997 from today, and every single wine was alive. Everyone was like, you can continue for 20 more years and you're going to drink them, no? So there's a lot of possibility in these wines. But in order to have that time possibility, you have to lose the fear of the minerality that sometimes can scare people around, no? The reality is that
You have to go big
yes,
in the beginning.
exactly, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yes, because this concentrated flavor, and you have like this. I like to say saltiness because sometimes you feel it like saltiness. Not the correct number in the correct name. It's minerality. Sometimes it can be a little bit rude if it's like it's salty because we have this bad connotation. Is the word's connotation?
Yeah.
See, a bad connotation of the word saltiness, no? And it's like, ooh, it's not. It's not good. It's something that it's bad, no? But the reality is that that's the way it feels. But it gives you a lot of things. If you can see, you're kind of biting, no, the wine. It keeps in the mouth, and it goes like your mouth becomes a little bit bizcocho, no? ¿Quieres un poco más? Do you want more wine?
This is really good. Very good.
It is really good.
So normally, ¿alguien más? It's here.
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay.
Very good.
Normally,
I'm the navigator.
we are, o sea, in my house, we're drinking 2014, 2013 from this wine. This is the wine that we just released. We made the exercise to have 3 years until we release them. To make the first exercise of keeping it, but the idea is that people buy it so they can hold on. Exactly.
Who designed everything for you, like the tasting room?
It's a mix. The tasting room, it was my dad. See, he's and he's everything, and he likes to design buildings. But the building, the house, the winery, it was my uncle. He's a really well-known architect here. He designed Fauna and designed Benacaba, and that he's the architect from the family.
There's a lot of history.
Yeah, you have a
Family.
lot of history.
A lot of history, yeah.
Sí.
So much culture.
They're really intense. We are all really intense.
We're boring compared to you guys down here. Like, what does your family do? Well,
We enjoy it.
yeah, I love it. I think it's
I
amazing.
love-